Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Check out my comics, Big Baby and Star Crasher at KingComics.CA. Check out my other videos on YouTube. King Comics 2021 is my channel. Check out my Instagram, Maximus Rex 13, and check out my Facebook, Max Rex and or Big Baby. Today, guys, it is Tuesday. We're looking at some more JAE LEE, the next issue of Namor the Submariner. This is issue number 30, cover dated September 1992. So, concurrent to this, Image Comics has started, and within just about less than a year, JAE LEE will have moved on from Marvel to Image Comics. But before that moment, we've got a few sweet issues of Namor left to check out for the reviews. So we're moving on with this one, issue 30, cover dated September 1992. I think I already said that. Starting with the cover, like I said, we're getting more and more of the JAE LEE that we're going to come to know. The detail, the kind of dirty, scratchy detail is really becoming prominent, but I think the proportions are still relatively reined in here and relatively, I don't want to say realistic, but I would say, tame. And Doom is just absolutely huge in here, right? The silhouette of Doom here, his cape's all ripped up and stuff, and you see some more JAE LEE experimentation. I don't see his full signature anywhere here, but I'm really going to assume 100% that this is inked by JAE LEE, even though the interior is not. Pretty cool looking cover. The weird proportion, I mean, maybe it's a symbolic thing, right? That Doom is so huge and looming that, Namor finds himself within his whole silhouette, and that's probably why there's a size difference there. Pretty interesting image, fun image. One little thing that annoys me is the fact that we can see his eyes here in the silhouette, and that the colorist colored basically pretty much the same red as the background in the eyes here. Kind of makes it so like it flattens it, I feel. It's almost like we're seeing the background through his eyes, where all I would have done here is just a different color, not red, and probably brighter as well, maybe yellow or something. I don't know. There's a lot of yellow here that could have worked out well just to bring more attention to the eyes. The red is fairly dark to a certain extent, and it kind of gets lost a little bit in the details on the cover, but pretty striking cover. Let's stop talking about that and have a look inside. So I'm going to comment on the inking just because this is the last issue. I believe that JAE LEE is inked by someone else. Next issue, we're going to get some full-on JAE LEE artwork. And again, as I feel that Jeff Albrecht is his name, anyways, we're going to see the credits, is being pretty faithful to JAE LEE. I do feel he's like, I don't want to say controlling it, but he's cleaning, not even cleaning it up a bit, but keeping it a little less chaotic. He's bringing a little bit more order to JAE LEE's lines, but the composition again is excellent. The layouts and stuff are just very clear, concise, and easy to read and fun to look at too. His design sense is as great as always. See, you're starting to get the JAE LEE isms. I don't that like he's going to start using later on in, I feel, like he uses this in his Inhuman series that's going to come later, right? But this kind of Geiger-esque stuff. Geiger's the guy who designed the aliens in the movie First Alien, Aliens, and everything else. And I feel, again, maybe he's pulling a little bit early on. The way he's doing the reflections here on the side of the metallic surface is kind of reminiscent of Simon Bisley, but once again, maybe because the inker a little more controlled, so maybe a little bit more comic booky. But man, look at like the swooshing lines here on the side of the boat. That's beautiful and really well done. Very illustrative. The smoke here becomes flat, even though the boat has great perspective, but I think that works well. It's not definitely not a complaint. I think it creates a cool design sense. He's always using either the moon or the sun to great effect, and again, it's important where he's having it cut into things with the flag and everything, keep it nice and clear. And just, wow, just a great establishing shot of this boat here. And even the water, I talked about it a few issues ago, maybe last issue, is, he finds a clean, simple, once again, elegant way to define the water, and you don't question what that is. And they've even colored it green. And, I know the kayfabe guys used to talk a lot about don't color your sky blue for some reason, but it kind of has a certain effect in here. It's almost like you're out in the void in a weird way. And I think it works, especially with JAE LEE's graphic sense. So yeah, JAE LEE is the penciler, Jeff Albrecht, I think is how I say that. Inker, John Byrne writer, Glynis Oliver colorist, and Michael Higgins is the letterer. Glynis Oliver, again, I've talked about this. I don't know if this is the top quality newsprint. It feels a little cheap, but I do feel like they've mastered, that kind of more precise coloring that I like around this era on Wolverine I've talked about. What other comic? Anyways, the colors are kind of peak here. Nice and saturated on the page. No offset. Pretty good period for production values. And I'm going quickly, right? Because again, it's another great issue with great art. Nothing to complain about, really. This shot of Namor's great. I've talked about last issue how he's starting to exaggerate the legs, make them kind of long, but that's fun. This character here, how simply he just gets her down here, throws a lot of shadow on her face, but it totally works. It's his incredible design sense that lets him get away with that. And again, this issue, great art, but next issue is his first one where he inks himself, so I'll be spending a little more time there. But this is just, you know, more of the same of what we've been seeing. Just great layouts, simple backgrounds, but they're evocative enough so we understand what's going on. And great, pretty solid storytelling overall. I like when he goes a little nuts and he just does some more kind of angular, cartoony stuff. In a weird way, sometimes he talks about Bisley, but I know Bisley talks about Kevin O'Neill, and it's almost like by proxy sometimes, right? You copy artists that copied other artists. You don't know about those artists, but some of that stuff from them still seeps its way into your work, right? So I feel like there's a bit of Kevin O'Neill in some of the angularness and the details on the folds of the clothes and stuff. Bit of a martial law vibe here too. And again, is he getting that through Bisley? I don't know. It's like when I was a kid, you know, originally when I was drawing my heroes, you know, were the Image guys, let's say Eric Larson, right? I didn't know how heavily he was, you know, influenced by Jack Kirby. So I was influenced by Eric Larson, but through him, basically the Kirby influence got to me, and later on discovered Kirby and loved it, right? And understood why he's called the king. All these shots here, the water is what impresses me. The different ways he defines the texture. The boat, again, is just, he just has interesting, simple designs that are very evocative. I don't know how else to say it. Like, they evoke a lot. They're fine for storytelling. They look great. The colors add to their, you know, volume and mass and stuff. And it's just so, again, so cleanly and simply done, right? He's doing a lot of pages a day. I'm not going to go over that again, because I've talked about it. Don't know if that's his greatest pinup, but it does its job, right? I guess also, is it possible that, you know, I've talked about how in this period only a few select Marvel books, at least from 91, 92, were allowing full bleed on the page. So there was like X-Force and Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane. Even when Rob Liefeld was doing New Mutants, there was no full bleed. So maybe I should pay attention, because I feel like maybe, you know, Namor wasn't given that distinction yet, and that's why they're on the cheap newsprint. Maybe the connection being when it's printed on cheap newsprint, you don't get full bleed, and when they print it on the better quality newsprint like Spider-Man, you get full bleed. Yeah, I have a sense that Namor is probably not full bleed, and maybe that's pushing his decision to do these types of layouts and make the negative space more interesting, right? It's almost like he's creating full bleed with the negative space in a weird way. Pretty clever. You know, it's important when you're working on comics and stuff to be aware of the format that you're working in, right? So naturally, if you have, you know, a comic that's going to have some sort of white border all the way around it that you can't get past and you don't have bleed, you're going to approach it differently than you would something where you're allowed bleed, right? For sure you would. So JAE Lee's already smart enough to do that. Just the simple way he defines textures and everything separates one from the other. The ballsy move here, the kind of Sienkiewicz kind of deal where you just take an open space and just do lines. You're not, what does that denote? I don't know, intensity, you know, madness, getting really angry. I'm not quite sure, but it's cool looking. You know, I can say that, and it just seems to add movement to the image where there is not that much. Also, like this menacing kind of just negative space of the weapon here. You know, maybe I would have, well, because he's got the black border here that he's added, right? That adds another layer to these two panels. But it kind of would have been cool if this went all the way to the edge here and the edge here, and the white of the paper kind of came in. That's not a great though. The pages still look great. Just a variation that could have worked. Some cool action here. I think he pulls off well. Just a I marvel at some of these artists who have the restraint to just do a few lines like this, you know? Again, I think it probably works with JAE Lee's style, and more as he evolves, he's going to go towards that kind of finer line all around. And again, the colors here, it's just so much blue, you know? I've rarely seen a comic that's just the majority of the colors in this book are just blue or purpley blue, or you know what I mean? It's just very blue. Is that on purpose because it's Namor and water and stuff? Maybe. Already that you're going to use a blue to define black hair, right, in comics. That's kind of an old trope. Oh, man, this close-up, all the faces, and, you know, he's not going too exaggerated yet. It still works really well, and the expressions are clear. And this machine here, the way he does the silhouette and just gives you little highlights of details, so clever. It's like Mike Mignola, but not as flat. You know, Mike Mignola is very head-on, not too much perspective and stuff, and flat, at least, you know, later on Hellboy. And I'm not, again, criticizing that. That's his style. That's how he tells a story, and I think it works well. And it works well for Mike Mignola. But JAE Lee here is kind of taken like a more razor-like precision with the silhouettes, and where he's still suggesting that volume, that 3D space. Here we're looking up at it, right? We've got some perspective going on. All these little bits of wire here. He's really good with silhouettes, and this is early on. Yeah, he's using, like, you know, expressionism for lack, you know, it's like a art history if you're into that a little bit, but it was an art movement at some point where, you know, they used lots of strokes to try to create, you know, movements, turmoil. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's, you know, it definitely applies in comic books, and JAE Lee's taken full advantage of it here. You know, Namor's in a hard spot. He thinks he's going a little nuts, you know. Always draws very nice ladies as well. One thing I've noticed is with the ladies, he keeps it very open most times on the body and doesn't add too much line. Just keeps it very kind of almost fully negative spacey, and it works really well. Oh, this drawing of Boom Boom I always thought was kind of weird. What a weird period in the 90s, right? Where, you know, you were getting swimsuit specials of female characters from the comics. Anyways, I'm not going to say too much about that. The ball's also at this young age to, like, hey, again, leave some negative space here, move things along, less to draw. Look at this panel. How great is that? So precise. I love it. I love this panel here. Just a little bit like it's white, black, white, black, white. Perfect. Almost no line, just spaces. Very well done. And this too, this looks great with this extra bit of contour that he's added. Like, just, yeah. It's a bit of Howard Chaykin here, maybe. What a great looking page. He's got the image establishing shot, right? Top thin vertical. And then we're back on the boat, I guess, and we're seeing, you know, he can do simple, clear silhouette backgrounds, but also lots of detail. So she's having water because she needs water to survive, right? So we got this Nick Fury wannabe here. Not exactly sure who he is, some sort of pirate. Like I said, I'm mostly focusing on the art. But then, boom, we get our first Doctor Doom appearance. Not sure about these two dots here, right? Maybe what you want to do is just leave that as a silhouette for that first one, so you're not quite sure, and then throw this in. And again, just like if you're going to throw in the 3 here, you know, why not just go all the way? Or just put the eyes, you know. I think the eyes are enough. With the shape of that and the cape that we can see, and just those rectangular eyes, we would know that's Doctor Doom. So, yeah, I don't know why they just left those 3 screws in. It's kind of weird. Just a little bit of highlights here. Gives a sense of, if we've seen Doom before, we know what this looks like, even though it's all in shadow. And boom. Nice profile Namor, all kind of chained up. And then Doctor Doom is revealed. And just like the upper body, the hand, everything else is in shadow. Silhouette, very stark, very striking for sure. Again, JAE Lee has just great design sense. And there you have it, guys. That is our review for today, Namor the Submariner, issue number 30. If you're subscribed and you're still watching, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We're approaching, slowly but surely, 500 subscribers. So when we get there, I'll be releasing a new special video related to my own comics, Big Baby. So wait for that. As soon as, like I said, we're in around 500, I'll be shooting that video. Those of you who are not subscribed but you're watching, please hit the subscribe button below, hit the like button, help the channel out, help us grow, and help get us out there to other people who are into comic books just like we are. So everyone who's watching today, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and have an awesome day. King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KINGCOMICS.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.
Like! Subscribe! Like!